Hey, what's up? I just want to kind of try to make a quick video on this before I send all these out. But I'm just going to be explaining what my build plans are for the engine in this car. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick overview on my car, and then go into what my plans are. So this is my 1980 Mazda RX-7 SA22C LS. LS being the trim, of course, not the engine because it's rotary powered. My words mixed up there. And it's powered by a 76 to 78 RX-5 Cosmo 13B. Also, the 5-speed manual trans is a rib case trans from the same model car, 76 to 78 Cosmo. And I have no complaints about the engine at all. It makes great power, makes great torque. 154 at the wheels and 136 torque. And for a roughly 2,300 pound chassis, that's more than enough, especially in a daily driver such as this, which this is my daily driver and has been since I bought it. I've had it for a little bit over a year now, and put roughly 22,000 miles on it, and have had 0 engine related issues. It came out of a junkyard and it runs perfectly. Now, of course, I did have to install a new battery, replacing this switch and put gas in, but it fired up on the first try. And basic maintenance since then, it's been perfectly fine. But I do want to refresh the engine. I have no idea on the history of this engine or the car itself. I don't know how many miles are on the car because it's a 5-digit odometer, so it rolls over at 100,000. And oh yeah, it's anywhere from 200 to 300,000 miles on the car itself. On the engine, it was built in the early 80s at Rotor Reliability and Racing. It's a Killer B engine built by Nick Van Nugteren. And all I could tell me is that it was built by him in the early 80s with this setup. So on to my build plans. So what I'm going to be doing is switching out the rotating assembly for a Renesis Eshaft, Renesis rotors, Renesis front and rear counterweight, and a 8.8 to 9 pound aluminum flywheel. Now the reason that I'm going with these rotors and Eshaft is for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons being the rotors are much lighter. The 76 to 78 RX-5 Cosmo rotors are 9.2 compression, or 9.2 to 1 compression ratio, and they also weigh 11.58 pounds each. These Renesis rotors each weigh 9.3 pounds and have a compression ratio of 10.0 to 1 compression ratio. The Eshaft, it's a little bit lighter, not much, but is lighter. The way you can kind of tell is it has 4 of these little drill holes in each lobe versus 3 in all the older Eshafts. The Renesis front and rear counterweights, I can use any front and rear counterweights as long as they match, or I can even use the RX-5 front counterweight with the Renesis one because they're going to be sent off to be balanced anyway. As well as the aluminum flywheel that I'll be using. Estimated, let's see, I have to recalculate for the flywheel because the stock flywheel in these are, I think, over 20 pounds. The lowest weight is like 17 pounds, and I'm not sure which flywheel that is. But off the rotating assembly, I'm going from 11.58 pounds per rotor to 9.3 pounds per rotor. I'm not sure what the E-shaft weighs, the weight differences between E-shafts are, but it is a little bit lighter. So from that, I'm not really building for power, but I'm more building for acceleration. Power, when I calculated and added it up, I should possibly see roughly a 22 wheel horsepower gain. Sorry about that, my phone died, so I had to throw it on the charger real quick. But as I was saying, so I'm not sure what I'll be seeing for torque out of this build, but I'm not really too worried about that. I mean, 136 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels and such a light chassis. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm going to wait for this jet to fly over. Right when I start recording, every single time. This is why it sucks living outside of a Air Force base, because, well, you gotta deal with that all day long. All fucking day long. Anyway, back to this. But yeah, even if I don't see 1 wheel horsepower gain out of this, I won't be mad at all. Or the same with torque. And the reason for that is because the goal for this is acceleration. Now, the reason I say that is because of how light the rotors are, the lighter Eshaft, and the aluminum lightweight flywheel. So all my main gains will be from that. And theoretically, for horsepower gain, I should be seeing about a 22, if I did my math correctly, 22 wheel horsepower at the wheels gain. And well, that'll be pretty nice too to have, but I'm not really counting on it, and I'm not really hoping for it either. Well, I guess all I can do is hope, but whatever. Yeah, enough about that. I'm gonna go ahead and get these packed up. And then these will be going to CLR Motorsports, and the reason they'll be going there is because Carlos Lopez, from what I understand, he's the only person who's been able to balance a pair of Renesis rotors and get them within, I think, 2 grams. I have to go back and look at the video, but he has a video up about balancing Renesis rotors and how much of a pain in the dick they are. As of right now, until 2018, his price for balancing a pair of rotors is $450. I think that's just for the rotors, if I remember right, going off his website. And that price, I don't know if it's just for Renesis rotors or for all rotors, but that price will be going up. But for Renesis rotors, I know specifically because if you watch his video on it, which I'll put a link in the description below about it, he explains how much of a pain in the dick they are, and just to balance correctly and get them as close as he's been able to get them. So that's why I'm sending him off to him, because he's proved to be able to do it, and he's the right man for the job. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video off here, and I'll come back to this once I get the rotors back, and yeah, or if I get some other stuff that I ordered for this build specifically, I'll probably make something about that or mention it in a future video. But anyway, enough rambling on. I wanted to keep this video short, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off here. And comment, rate, subscribe, and see you. I did forget to mention one thing. So when you're sending rotary engine parts, or any engine parts for that matter, it's very imperative that you pack them correctly so they're not knocking around and during shipping, because FedEx, UPS, USPS, none of them give a shit about what's in your package. They'll throw it around, and if you ask any like ex-UPS, FedEx, or USPS employee, they'll all say the same thing. They treat your shit like shit. So pack your things accordingly. Hope for the best, expect the worst. So you know, pack them as such. So that's why I cut out a bunch of foam so we can ship them correctly, and even like dug into these so the tops can be secure too. I'm getting foam everywhere. But yeah, it's very imperative that you pack them accordingly if you actually give a shit about your shit. Or if you're selling engine parts, I mean, this is something that happens more often than it should. People sell engine parts and they ship them like shit. And I've even seen a post about an Eshaft being shipped, and you know, empty package showing up because there was a giant hole in the bottom and the Eshaft was nowhere to be found. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.